Who murdered Dr. Pippin Carter? Who murdered Lawrence Ziggy Ziegfeld? Who murdered Ernie Leach? Who murdered Yvette Delacroix? Who murdered Countess Lavinia Waldorf-Carleton? Who was the skeleton found in the steamer trunk? Who actually stole the dagger of Amun-Ra from the ancient Egypt exhibit? Who was the woman involved in stealing paintings from the Old Masters Gallery? Based on our own investigation, your conclusion is incorrect, Miss Bow. 2 of the men who were murdered were involved with one of the female victims in a plan to steal the paintings. We have a report on that woman telling us she appeared at an appointment in the medieval armor exhibit sometime after the party. She was unaware that her partner in crime was dead at that point, and she was seen carrying paintings. If she'd been confronted at that time with evidence that her partner was dead, she might well have confessed to her crime. Who is the high priest of the Amun-Ra sun worshippers? That accusation is false, Miss Bow. However, the high priest's identity is a carefully guarded secret, so your failure to identify him is nothing to be ashamed about. He was present at the museum party, but was rarely seen afterwards. One witness said he was spotted briefly in the office of Yvette Delacroix. Which museum employee runs a fencing operation as a sideline business? Incorrect, Miss Bow. If I were you, I would have looked through the garbage in people's offices. Trash cans are often a good source of clues. Miss Bow, please remember in the future that you're a reporter, not a detective. By interfering at crime scenes, you make it much more difficult for the police to do their jobs. Not only are your conclusions based on unfounded guesswork, you don't even have any evidence to back them up. By your presence at the murder scenes and your destruction of evidence, I'm tempted to conclude that you were the murderer. You neglected to thoroughly question all the suspects, and you missed important evidence at the crime scenes. Although you discovered the dagger of Amun-Ra, you have not arrived at conclusions about the theft that make any sense to me. I believe the theft involved 2 people, one of whom must have been on the museum staff. Because of you, a murderer is running loose in this city, free to kill again. I hope you're proud of yourself, Miss Bow.
Since his skeleton was so nicely cleaned by the domestic beetles, Dr. Carrington's bones will soon be hanging on display in the Leyendecker Museum. Yvette Delacroix died plastered. Her remarkably lifelike statue now lives on in the Old Masters Gallery of the Leyendecker Museum. Her memory lives on in the minds of all she touched. Her sculpture is attributed to artist unknown. Dr. Pippin Carter, wherever he is quite displeased. You did not recover the dagger of Amun-Ra, nor did you find his murderer. Therefore, Pippin feels it is only fair that he should haunt you for the rest of your life. Indirectly, as a result of your total failure, Wolf Heinrich was fired from his job as Chief of Security at the Leyendecker Museum. 1 year later, still out of work, he committed suicide in military fashion by falling on his sword. Having died in the course of this story, Watney Little's life of crime came to an abrupt end. As he was not a nice man, nobody missed him. After Wolf Heinrich was fired from his job as Chief of Security, Dr. Olympia Miklos moved to Montana to do full-time field research in paleontology, digging in the rich fossil beds she found there. Her greatest find was the carnivorous Olympiasaurus dinosaur. As fond as he was of the Leyendecker, Ernie Leach noted in his will that he wanted his body donated to the museum. His body now resides in numerous small jars of alcohol, which will be placed on display in the new Hall of Internal Biology, adjacent to the Hall of Late Mammals. Since the dagger of Amun-Ra was not recovered, Dr. Patashep Tut Smith was forced to commit suicide with a fake dagger of Amun-Ra from the Leyendecker Museum gift shop. After losing his head in the museum, Ziggy found himself unable to continue his criminal career. His head has been preserved and is now on display in the Life Mask exhibit at the Leyendecker Museum. Ramses Najir continued his successful career as an accountant and as head of the secret Egyptian cult of Amun-Ra. With his strong high society ties, his accounting business made Ramses a millionaire in 15 years. Having died from a snake bite, the Countess Lavinia Waldorf Carleton did not live long enough to inherit any money from her last husband, Sterling. Extremely unimpressed by your total failure as a reporter, Sam Augustini fired you. Later that same year, he was mugged with a gift shop duplicate of the dagger of Amun-Ra and died from his wounds. He blames you for his death. Since you were fired after your total failure at the museum, Crodfuller T. Rhubarb continued the investigation, found the dagger of Amun-Ra and the murderer, and won a Pulitzer Prize for his excellent work. Henri Lemore, the coroner, continued his successful career studying dead bodies for the next 50 years, finally retiring in 1976 to tour with a rock band, the Ungrateful Dead. Low Fat continued in the laundry business, eventually opening a chain of low-fat Chinese laundries across the country and becoming a millionaire in the process. Detective Ryan Hanrahan O'Reilly continued in his job and became a full-time homicide detective. Having amassed a small fortune by being frugal, he retired to Ireland 3 years later. Steve Dorian was quite upset by the unfortunate event that happened to you later that night. Stunned by your total failure and the unfortunate event that occurred to you later that evening, John Bowes spent his remaining years in a New Orleans mental institution. After you gave it away, the dagger of Amun-Ra vanished. 20 years later, in 1946, it mysteriously appeared on the doorstep of the Cairo Museum in Egypt. There was human blood on the blade, as if it was some kind of a message.
You had your chance and you blew it, Laura Bow. This is what happens to interfering reporters.